So this is going to be a lesson on scientific notation. And just remember that scientific notation, a number is written in scientific notation when it is of the form c times 10 to the power of n. And what you need to understand is that c is a number that's between 1 and 10. It's greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. It happens to be a decimal. Okay, so you'd be writing a decimal that's going to be between 1 and 10. When you convert a number into scientific notation, you want to make sure that you move the decimal so that you have a number between 1 and 10. The exponent is going to be the number of places that the decimal moved. If the decimal moved left, in other words, if the original number you're given is larger than 1, the exponent is going to be positive. If the decimal moves to the right, and that would mean that the original number was less than 1, was a decimal to begin with, then the exponent is going to be negative. So here are a couple of examples. Write each number in scientific notation. Here we've got a number that is greater than 1. In order to find a decimal between 1 and 10, I would put a decimal point right in between the 6 and the 8. So 6.87 is my decimal. And I'd have to move my exponent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, and it's going to be times 10 to the 5th because my number started out larger than 1 or my decimal place moved left. In the second example, to get a number between 1 and 10, I'm going to plot my decimal in between the 4 and the 5. So here's my decimal 4.5 times 10. Well, to what power? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's going to be to the negative 6th power because my decimal moved right and also because my number started out less than 1. So here's your answer for number 2. 4.5 times 10 to the negative 6. If you now want to convert a number into standard form, so you're given scientific notation, you want to get it out. If the exponent is positive, you move the decimal that many places to the right. Let me just slide this down. So if the exponent is positive, then the decimal moves that many places to the right. If your exponent is negative, then the decimal moves that many places to the left. So if we want to write each number in scientific notation here, let me slide this back up. Then 5.6 times 10 to the 6th power. Because the because the exponent is positive, the decimal moves to the right 6 places. Well, that's 1 place to the right, which means I need to move a total of 5 more spaces to actually have gone a total of 6. So I need to have 5 zeros as placeholders. So then my answer here, 5.6 times 10 to the 6th, is going to be 5,600,000. On this next example, my exponent is negative, so I need to move left. I can move 1 place to the left to be the left of the 9, but then I still have to move 2 more places. So this answer becomes 0.00. I use zeros again as placeholders, and then 0.009001. You might be asked to order some numbers from least to greatest, which means you can either put the numbers in scientific notation or take them out. Either way, it should be fine. So I think I'm going to take the number in the middle out of scientific notation just because that's the only number that's in scientific. So this number actually right here would be 7, 8, and 7 zeros. And then I could back into my commas. So if I want to order these numbers from least to greatest, I realize that the least number up here is the 80,760,000. And I'm going to write that first. I'm writing it the way that it gave it to us, 80,760,000. That would be followed by the next number, which is 103,400,000. So I would then use a different color actually, 103,400,000. And then that would be followed by the largest number, which happened to be written in scientific notation, and that's how I'm going to give it back to them, 7.8 times 10 to the 8th. So writing numbers from least to greatest or greatest to least. When you evaluate the expressions on this next page, you're going to be able to use a calculator. Graphing calculator would be best. Use a calculator. So what you need to do is type in exactly what you see on the calculator, and then you have your answer. One thing to know about the graphing calculator is you do want to make sure that you're in scientific notation mode. So when you turn your calculator on, up towards the top to the right of the second button, there's a word that's called mode. When you touch mode, you're probably in a default of everything left justified. Just arrow over to the right over onto SCI, hit enter, and now you're in scientific notation mode. The way you exit out of scientific notation mode is above the word mode, you see the word quit. Then you're going to go to second quit. You're going to type in exactly what you see on the problem. Parentheses, 6.4 times 10 to the third. The way to raise a number to a power is above the division sign. There's a caret. So that's to the third power. And I'm going to close up my parenthesis. I'm going to open up another parenthesis, 7 times 10. And I'm going to go by the caret again, squared. There's a squared button, but I'm not using it. And then when I hit enter, my answer's in scientific notation. It says 4.48 E6. That E stands for the exponent. So your answer is going to look like this. 4.48 times 10 to the exponent of a 6. When you get to the next one on division, you need to make sure that you insert your own parentheses in the problem so it does the proper order of operations. So the calculator does the proper order of operations. Without parentheses, you're guaranteed to get a wrong answer. So for this next one, parentheses that I put around myself, 1.035, try that again, 0.35 times 10. Now to the negative third. The negative button is the button that's underneath the 3 to the left of the enter. It's got that parentheses around it. You don't want to use a minus sign for a negative button. It won't work. And then you divide that by 4.5 times 10. This time I will use the squared button. The squared button's on the left-hand column, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons up from the on button. Close that up. Answer in scientific notation, 2.3 times 10 to the negative 6. So there's my answer here, 2.3 times 10 to the negative 6. And then the last one, just type in exactly what you see, bring this calculator back up, clear out the old stuff. In parentheses, 1.5 times 10 to the negative 3. Whoopsie, try that again, 10 to the negative 3. Negative 3, and then I'm going to square that whole thing. And that comes out to be 2.25 times 10 to the negative 6. So I've got 2.25. And there's your answer. So that should be good. Just one thing that you need to know is that at this point, if you're using the calculator again for something else, it's going to stay into scientific notation. So if you try to do something like 5 plus 9, which we know the answer is 14, it's going to give you the answer in scientific notation. So what you need to do then is go back to your mode, go back on top of normal, hit enter so you're completely left justified again. Do second mode to quit out, and now when you do 5 plus 9, you're back to what you're normally used to seeing. That's it.